Right.
At 6 o'clock, we'll start off with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. share with us in prayer.
Hi guys, I'm Barry Voorhees. I'm the senior pastor of the Lighthouse Fellowship Church, which will be right beside the movie theater at a given point. Right now we are down in Joel. It's a bad thing when you're kind of so raw emotionally, you start crying at the Pledge of Allegiance, and you're already there. I brought a special passage of scripture tonight just to read and to pray that I think is really pertinent for our country today, just our country. This is Romans chapter 12, beginning at verse 14. Bless those who persecute you, bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind toward one another, and do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble. Don't be wise in your own opinion. Repay no one evil for evil. Have regard for good things in the sight of all men. And here's verse 18. If it's possible, as much as it depends on you, live peaceably with all men. And I think you would agree in our nation today, we need some peace. We need to be able to talk a little bit and not overloads. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for everybody here, every family here. Thank you for the opportunity to get together and peaceably assemble. It's one of the things that our founding fathers gave us the right to do, and it's a beautiful, wonderful thing, Lord. So we just ask you bless our nation, you bless our state, you bless our county, and you bless our city, Lord. Help us to follow you and to live peaceably with all men in all things. And we pray especially for peace in our nation. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barry.
Yes, sir.
Nice
Right.
to see you, Pastor.
Good to see you.
Alderman Mason?
Here. I was trying not to say yes.
Alderman Hayes?
Here.
Alderman Rundle? Here. Vice Mayor Anderson?
Here.
Mayor Smith?
Yes, sir. All right, item number 4, approval of the meeting minutes from August 26th.
Make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion and second. Roll call.
Vice Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Rundle? Yes. Alderman Hayes?
Yes.
Alderman Mason?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Abstain.
Alright.
All right, next on the agenda is public forum. Got a list here. I would like to remind everyone that it's limited to 3 minutes, and given the size, we'll try to keep it to the 3 minutes, please. First one on the list is Leonard Keeler. Please state your name and your address.
Leonard Keeler, 3127 York Road.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Aldermen, Cooktown Patriots. Good evening. My name is Leonard Keeler, and I've lived in Cooktown for the last 31 years. I bought a little piece of land on York Road, just like a lot of people are wanting to do here now. 31 years ago, it was the rural views, the light traffic, and then the Blue Ribbon Schools. It's been a wonderful place to raise our children and now to watch our grandchildren prosper. Coopertown is a growing community. There have been many changes in that 31 years, some good, some not so good. It is expected that people would be drawn here, and thus there would be growth, housing, and businesses, and I'm not opposed to the growth. My major concern is the infrastructure to support that growth, because we are right now lacking, and it's not so much from this government body, but from Springfield, who for years have ignored us and our need for services, especially in the education of our children. 10 years ago, if you were buying a home here, first thing a realtor would put on their advertisement was Coopertown Schools. Well, you don't see that much anymore. And it's not because the teachers are bad, and it's not because the students are dumb. There's just too many of them. Currently, there's almost 500 students in elementary school and 700 in the middle school. Current studies show that of those two schools, they are at 90% capacity, which is a strain on multiple layers of services. One in particular is transportation. If you ever get up at 5:30 in the morning, go over to Derby Meadows, you'll see that little yellow bus running through at 5:30. And you'll see the same type of bus running through at 5:10 in Mount Zion. That's a shame. It really is. They're picking up children in the dark. U.S. Census states on average there's 3.3 persons per dwelling in Coopertown, and that's an old stat, but that's the latest one I can get. How many more will be built if you approve the rezoning tonight? Not to mention the fact that Springfield only has a magnet for middle schools. So guess what? They're all here. New Home Source reports that in the general area, especially Springfield, there are either building or have built 3,300 new homes over 249 communities. As you see, our rural appeal is imperative, and I'm going to close. I humbly ask that you vote on a resolution to press the Department of Education to fund additional schools as well as a high school for our children. As promised 30 years ago, I pray that you'll revisit this zoning at a later date after you got answers from Robertson County. We all love Robertson County, but it's time they started loving us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ray? Your name and address, please.
Raffaella Ray Cohane, and my address is 2053 Huntington Lane, Pleasant View 37146, Derby Meadows. I'm here because of the 7.2 Michael Crawley and Crawley thing. The reason I'm here is because believe me, I moved here from Nashville, and I lived in Nashville for 10 years, from 2015 until April of this year. So I sympathize with you as far as growth is concerned. They're just nuts in Nashville, so we can't even compare this to that. But the reason I'm here is I never see anybody here going to the Board of Commissioner meetings in Robertson County. Since April, I have been to just about every one. I missed this month's, but I have been to every one. And at every meeting, they complain about trash. Every meeting. You have a piece of property right here that has a permit for a landfill. And I just want to say that in Robertson County, there's a law in Tennessee, in case you don't know. It's called the Jackson Law. And that law gives local control over whether a landfill can or cannot open. However, Robertson County did not pass that law. I sent an email to all the commissioners to propose passing that law in Robertson County because I know about this landfill. Yes, I only live here since April, but my daughters live in Oak Point, and they have been there for since 2013. So I know about the landfill. And I just want to let you know there's two bills that are going to be coming up in 2026 in the state legislature. One is proposed by Heidi Campbell. The other is proposed by Senator Cody, Mark Cody. I happen to know Mark Cody very well, and I will speak to him more because his bill is very His bill is very vague. Her bill is not so vague. And, she's proposing landfills. And I just wanna make you aware, because you may not want more development. I was hoping this would have been done 2 or 3 years ago, because I would have bought an apartment there. But, because I really didn't want to move into a house, but whatever. You may not want development, but you may need some development to fight a landfill. And I would rather have development than a landfill. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, next, Ruby Cash.
I'm Ruby Cash. I live at 1037 Casey Drive in Pleasant View, Tennessee. And there's a lot of speculation regarding the mixed-use property and what it's going to look like and what it's going to entail. I think there was a lot of communication issues with what happened at the Planning Commission. Can we see what is proposed so that we can all have a more clear picture of what is expected to go onto that property if it is approved tonight?
Yeah, so when we get to that section later, there's some pictures and things that we can probably share with you, just to get some renderings of what it is.
That's all I needed.
Next is Casey Bone.
Tracy Bond, 1054 Casey Drive. Good evening, Mayor Smith, members of the board, neighbors. 2 years ago, when this same parcel was first proposed for mixed-use development, the town recognized it was a bad fit. Tonight, even though we now have a mixed-use ordinance on the books, nothing about the underlying conditions has changed. And those conditions are why I urge you to deny the request. First, the fundamentals remain the same. Infrastructure is still inadequate. Highway 49 hasn't magically widened. Utilities aren't suddenly more robust. And our town is no better prepared today to absorb traffic and the inevitable cost that this project will bring than we were then. Clarity is still absent. We still lack a nice detailed plan that tells the public what will actually be built, how it will be phased, and what the long-term fiscal impact will actually be. Community support is still generally lacking. The loudest support seemingly comes from those who are in the development business, while public comments and everyday conversations amongst neighbors shows broad opposition from the people who will actually have to live with the consequences. Second, let's look at the developer's track record. His current project, begun in April 2024, remains unfinished and has expanded beyond its original promise. What was sold as a simple drive-in now includes a second screen and a 6,000 square foot retail building. A relatively small project can grow so dramatically. How can we trust that tonight's proposal represents the final vision for a development of this scale? Third, and honestly the most troubling, the developer's done nothing to earn the community's trust. In the past 2 years since this concept surfaced, there's been no serious effort to meet with the residents who will live beside it, to ask what they want, or to adjust the plan to reflect community priorities and desires. He's essentially asking for our blessing without ever seeking our input. This was the wrong project in 2023, and it remains the wrong plan, in the wrong place, at the wrong time today. Maybe someday, but not today. Mayor Smith and Alderman Rundle spoke against it as citizens then, and Alderman Hayes voted against it. If a rezone is approved tonight, oversight will shift to an unelected planning commission, one that must demonstrate strict, consistent, and rigorous adherence to the plan and the ordinances to maintain the public's trust and confidence. For all of those reasons, and for the sake of our town's rural character that we love, and the future that we all want for our families, I respectfully urge you to vote no on this rezoning request. Thank you.
Next, we have Glenn Stewart.
Hi guys, Glenn Stewart, 2023 Chris Court in Pleasant View. Everything that was on my list has already been said. The biggest thing is the infrastructure. We all know how clogged up 49 can be. It could be when parents are dropping off kids to school in the morning and in the afternoon. God forbid, there's a head-on wreck, 24 is shut down in all directions. If there's a regular traffic stop, it's a traffic jam there. We can't support that infrastructure. Myself personally, I'm connected to Oak Point. That's where I chose to move here 13 years ago, along with many other people in this room. And it 100% affects all the residents on Chris Court and Casey Drive, in interior of Oak Point. Now, a planning board approved it, the last BOMA meeting, it was passed on to now, and the plan consisted of a bunch of, it may be 150 houses, it may be 300 houses, it may be a grocery anchor, it may be this, it may be that, and yet here we are approving a plan with no solid plans. And I don't know what that piece of paper says, that might have the answers right there. But for a plan to be presented to a community based off of maybes and to pass something based on maybes, not a great way to do business. And again, you know, infrastructure is crazy, and now that the city of Springfield is going to be putting any more taps in as of May of 2026, that brings in a whole other infrastructure set of what's going to happen. So again, piggybacking on what everybody else has said, I'll cut my time short. Thank you for the opportunity. We really hope for now from y'all. Thank you.
I'm Brian Greaves. I live at 1066 Casey Drive here in Oak Point housing area. It's the first time I've ever done this. Pretty much others have covered what I wanted to talk about. I've lived in this community for 15 years. I was drawn to it with my family specifically because it is rural, it's peaceful, it's a good location. My concern with having development next to us is responsible development and not something willy-nilly we don't know about. My concern is if overdevelopment, we do too much too fast. I just don't want to see Cooperstown become another suburb of Nashville. There's too many of those around. That's all I've got.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Stuart Moses.
Stuart Moses, 2014 Chris Court, Pleasant View, Tennessee, 37146. When we first got to Tennessee, we lived in Bellevue. It wasn't bad, it just kind of wasn't us. We moved up to Mount Juliet, and we found out what crowded and bustling and sitting traffic 30 minutes or an hour was really all about. And I told my wife, I said, we have got to get out of here before we lose our minds. So I said, you know, where can we go? Franklin, no, that's not going to happen. Lebanon, no, that definitely is not going to happen. And then we started kind of looking at Dixon. Well, Dixon was kind of going the wrong way too. So we said, well, what's up north? So we got with a realtor, we got up here and found this house at Oak Point, and it's like, when we got here, it was like we had come home. They would be building whatever they build, if you guys approve it, right in our backyard. I've got turkeys now on a cold, rainy day. I'll be doing something, look out my kitchen window, and there's a flock of turkeys out there walking through, and I'm like, good grief, this is awesome. I've got hummingbirds over there. I'm fixing to put out the 4th salt block for the deer. I rarely ever see them, I see the tracks. But it's quiet. You can connect with the land. It's different. Please don't put this rezoning, keep it agricultural. We need to connect with the land. We need to connect with everything around us. That's all I got.
Next is Brandon Wood.
My name is Brandon Wood. I live at 1091 Casey. I want to talk a little bit about control. You spoke to me on my doorstep about control when you wanted to be voted for mayor. I feel like it is irresponsible to put a large amount of residential and commercial in an already busy area. I would say if you look at infrastructure, look at the road in front of the new subdivision, it's cracked pieces. I haven't heard of any plan, like was there any, that's from the heavy trucks going in and out there, have they offered to It'll take care of any of the infrastructure in front of the new neighborhood.
Highway 49.
Yeah,
And this stage.
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, but like, it's a small representation of what can happen if we load in a bunch of people in commercial areas. I believe in I believe in responsible commercial zoning. I believe in the right areas. I don't believe in commercial areas being smashed right up on top of residential. You know, I don't want another, you know, Pleasant View Commons area over there, you know, right beside the neighborhood. The other thing I would say is, from a control factor, this is one of the #1 reasons why we voted for you to, you know, keep Coopertown what it is. This is the exact type of issue where we have the ability to say no to this and be responsible about where we're zoning residential and commercial. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your time.
Trey Sherrod.
I'm just here for,
Oh, you're here for your,
yes.
but you don't get to speak to this?
No, sir.
We'll get to you here in a second. That's all right. Is there anyone that did not get on the list that would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Jackie Miller. I live at 3014 James Winters Road. I've been here a little over a year. And I moved here because of the quality of life that I saw here. We drove through neighborhoods. We drove around to see what was here, not just to buy the parcel we were living on. And when I'm hearing about this, too much growth too fast takes away quality. I understand people want to come here. I came here last year because I want quality. But if we grow too fast, that quality gets thrown in the trash. And then it's not worth being here. So I don't want to say no to development, but I please ask, can we do it responsibly? Can we do it at a pace where quality is kept so that what we have, if others want to come share it, they can, and they can see the quality for what it is too, and not something that just has been thrown to the wayside.
All right. Any old business?
I do. Not sure what form to put this in, but I would like to remove from the table the 2025-0015 tabled last month on the coast, and have it placed on the minutes for, or on the agenda for next month. So, no, I'm removing it from the table, putting it back on the agenda.
All right, on to new business. If it's all right with you guys, I'm going to shuffle a couple things around here. Janice Stegner Morgan was asked to and come to her take care of them when we Mr. Crawley down to the end, since you're starting to do that. There's no issues with that. I'd like to do that. So we're going to move to 7.4. It's Janice Stegner Morgan. 4418 Washington Road has a request to rezone 2.61 acres of 23.4 acre parcel off Wish Farm Road, part of map 121 parcel 200 from agriculture to rural residential. This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-014.
Make a motion to approve 2025-014.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second. Any other comments? Roll please.
Vice Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Alderman Mason,
Yes.
Alderman Hayes,
No.
Alderman Rundle, Mayor Smith.
Rod. This is a rezone of 4.84 acres off Highway 49, map 111, parcel 044.1, agriculture to rural residential. This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-005. Have a motion to open for discussion.
Motion.
Motion for discussion. Yes, second. Okay, so, this has been on here in the past. Some of the issues have been with flooding and placement of the septic system, I believe. So, I think my understanding is we've got the TDEC approval on that. I've seen some, there's some comments in here from them. They've approved it, they're fine with it. Obviously, the flood zone issue's been resolved with the FEMA maps.
Rick, you've been drawing on this.
Yeah.
We had one from last time.
Jeff, do you have one? It should have been in the packet.
This is the property that, had known the flood, the Cricket Shoe property basically had an issue with whether or not he could get his house and his septic system out of the flood zone. But we have the location, what is being put. I know we're trying, was it 3 homes? It's 2.
Where the septic lines have been moved, we got a response from TDEC as well, same person.
And you said TDEC's approved this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Why do we have an email in here from TDEC? Right, but we're talking about, Jeff, and over here, talks about how to flood-proof utilities, including septics.
That came from TEMA.
Right, from Crystal Brown.
Yeah, that is some of the TEMA, who is actually a NFIP specialist for the state of Tennessee. So I reached out to them, and Brian Christoffel is actually responding back to my question as to what do you do with the septic system?
Okay.
And his response basically is you follow your flood ordinance, which I included a copy of that in your packets. There's an asterisk that shows you section 6.40. Page 2 refers to unmapped streams, so this happens to be a property on an unmapped stream. So our requirement by the town is to make sure that wherever that house is going to be located, it has to be at least equal to twice the width of the stream, measured from the top of each stream bank. So that is our requirement for an unmapped stream. And you probably understand what's an unmapped stream. So I'm going to show you what the flood insurance rate map shows for the unmapped stream. This is the lot. I'll put each of you on so you can see the highlighted lot. The little squiggly line to the right of that lot is the stream. If you open up this map,
you can actually see what a flood area looks like. And it's gonna be identified in gray, and it's gonna be identified as an A or AE zone. This is not identified at all as a flood area. So we refer to our ordinances section for unmatched streams. And that allows you to put a house or a structure on that lot, as long as they follow those instructions. And the septic's okay, according to TDEC. So, and there's emails there from both, TDEC and the state, and a 5P coordinator.
So he's checked all those boxes as far as the approvals.
Yes, sir.
If we approve this and it does flood, are we gonna be held for it or not?
No, you will not. The town will not be responsible for that, as long as we follow the ordinance. We actually allow people to build in the flood areas. So this is actually a case where there is not a flood area.
So we denied it in the past based upon the issues that he has brought before us tonight that he's got approval for, so, I make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve. Second?
Yes.
Second. Any other comments? Ready to roll?
Alderman Mason,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Alderman Hayes,
No.
Alderman Rundle,
No.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. Alright, next is 7.3, adopting a new contract with the Dean of Tennessee wastewater. This is first reading of ordinance 2025-011. Okay. So the town has an ordinance that is expiring this fall with a 25-year ordinance. The way it was done before is the agreement with them is basically done by ordinance. What we're doing this time is, basically expanding the ordinance, but now there's a contract that goes with it. And it's a non-exclusive agreement with the Deans. It's a 25-year non-exclusive agreement, so that they can still provide the services in the town. If another competitor comes in and wants to provide services, they can do so. There's also indemnification added into this agreement as well, and some insurance that is allowed by state law. This was reviewed by Marshall. They went back and forth on it with their attorneys. Any other comments on that you think of on this?
It's been reviewed by Venus as well, and their attorney.
Yeah, we still
Both
get a
sides
royalty
go
fee
back
from this as well. It's based on a percentage now rather than just a flat amount.
Marshall approved.
A motion open for comment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other questions on that?
You said what the percentage?
Yes, 10%.
Is it, is there anything to increase or anything, or the total simple rate?
So it's the rate increase is at percent 5. That's why we're at percent. Rather than a flat dollar. It's now a rate increase of just 5.
Venus has been in the news quite a bit lately, especially in Lebanon. There's been a lot of failures in their systems, and one of our ordinances is they are required to maintain all in accordance with the regulations of Tennessee. What if they do not?
Well, you get a couple options. If you're in breach of this agreement, then that triggers then the process to basically, they're no longer in the agreement. So there's a breach of agreement. There's also indemnification that they have to hold us harmless. So if they have an issue, the city is not responsible. The state would be involved as well. There's some over there. They also have insurance in here. I asked for more, but that's what basically the state, maybe they will allow from what Marshall was saying, is a cap on. So,
Was it Venus that came before this body before? And I think that question was asked, because they've been in Channel 5 investigation about their failing systems, and that their answer to that was that they had gone and gotten a different system that they used down in Louisiana. And they quit using the systems that were failing.
This is an open system we have here in town. We have one open system and one closed system. But we have multiple open systems. We have one closed system here. That's the new system that was put in at Durban Meadows. What we're talking about here is they're gonna maintain the existing systems that we have. We've already had one sinkhole develop under one of the lagoons back there. Yeah, I understand, no problem. But there's a lot of issues with their systems throughout the whole state of Tennessee. And I've questioned in the past, why is TDEC not holding them accountable to fixing their issues? And that's the same thing that this News Channel 5 investigates things going on, is what's happening in Lebanon right now. There's failure after failure after failure. Again, it goes back to, we have no control over how they operate the systems. The systems are turned over to them by the property owner, as an example, Dirty Meadows, Oak Point, such. At that point in time, they own, maintain, and operate. We have no oversight at all. TDEC is their oversight board. So why do we have an ordinance here that say they are required to operate in accordance with the recommendations of TDEC when they're failing? If TDEC, if they're failing report after report after report of failure,
who would we report it to? I mean, who
it's
would we report it to?
TDEC, but if TDEC's not holding everything accountable,
That's an issue with the state versus the state's contract. I mean, because we have to have that in there, that they're supposed to do that to be, right, regulated by them. So that needs to be in the agreement. Now, if TDEC doesn't.
well, I'm 100% agree with that. TDEC needs to have oversight.
Right.
But if the lagoon fails again, what do we do?
Well, if it's a breach of contract, you've got 30 days if it's not cured.
And if it's not cured, then what?
And then we have to go through a process of basically either finding someone else, or basically going back to the state. The state's gonna have to come in and force them to be in compliance. We can't do that. But if we have to be indemnified. Plus you also have, insurance liability coverages in here for some reason as well. That may not be enough to cover it, because I have no idea what a breach or failure would do. But in order to have indemnification, you have to have some language in there.
And that also why they're not accepted anymore coming from the lagoon.
Well, yeah, they've got to
Yeah, lagoon's back.
As they're going on each top and putting in service and operating that. It's that new system.
Good service, yeah, yeah.
Now, on a long-term solution, if this is not exclusive as our working session, we, get an agreement with Tennessee American Water, and if they want to provide sanitary sewer systems as well, then there's an option there, so. It allows us some flexibility now to go to a different system. Or they can buy the system out of the church.
This gets us to that point, if we do fail, we've got other options.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion approved, or second.
Marshall approved, also.
Okay, roll.
Alderman Hayes.
Yes.
Alderman Mason.
Yes.
Alderman Rundle. Yes. Vice Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. Next on the agenda is 7.2, Michael and Candace Crawley request to rezone 48.5 acres off Highway 49, map 120, parcel 002.00 from agriculture to mixed-use commercial. This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-007. A motion to open for discussion.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second for discussion. Okay, Mr. Crawley here with us this evening. He's provided us several items for us to review. Has everybody got one? Yeah, if you don't have one, you don't have to. You mean in the room? That's good. Alright, so there's going to be several things that we're going to go around, and the questions will come from the board to him. So please keep comments coming out there. So, Mr. Crawley, if you'd like to kind of start off and share with us what you're proposing to do, but one thing that we are going to do this evening is I'm going to let you kind of present. I do want to go through the ordinance and kind of check those off. I'll ask you to help us.
I think that'd be a good place to start.
You want to start there?
Hey guys in the crowd, don't talk loud. Give Mr. Crawley the respect that he gave you all. Okay, so don't be talking loud about it. Just look at the picture, see what you see. Don't be too loud. Otherwise, we'll ask you to step out.
You have a copy of that?
Yes, sir.
So this is on, you guys want to follow along. In our packet, it is in section 7.2, and it's page 5. These are the items that are part of the preliminary master development plan.
And I'll answer those. I've also typed the responses out as well too. Correct. So what I have done is I pasted all those, okay, then one type out, and we have a bold black on there, whether it's on the plan or the rest.
Okay. Okay, so the first one is the preliminary master development plan for the proposed mixed-use development shall be a general concept plan which shall include such items as the planning commission by general rule shall specify in order to disclose. And the location and size of the area involved. So that's what we have. So this, you're using all 49 acres?
Yeah, there's about 15 acres, roughly 14.9 that are kind of designated as open space, park, walking trail, and then the gym system as well. So, we're using, and that doesn't get, there's some green space that kind of buffers up that are counted in that number. But, so it's roughly 32 acres proposed that would be used.
Okay.
Based upon the calculation of what we project the sewage use would be.
The next one is transportation routes, including streets, driveways, sidewalks, and pedestrian ways, and off-street parking and loading areas. Item C. And that's on the map.
Cool.
Okay, the location and approximate dimensions of structures including approximate height and bulk, and the utilization of structures including activities and the number of living units. So how many homes, single family homes?
Yeah, over there.
You know, some of that would depend on making sure we are clear on what we're counting as single family versus a townhome, stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I'm detached is what I'd like to know both.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it, we have 60, what I believe is 63 in the pink there, that borders, Oak Point, kind of in that, horseshoe shapes around the backside perimeter.
Okay.
And that would be this style home.
Correct, yes, sir. That's projecting what that would look like, somewhere in the neighborhood of a minimum of 24 square feet.
2,300?
22, 23 would be the minimum size.
You said right here on this board, is that what you said? This
Correct,
board?
yes, that is correct. And if my math is right, it's 63. Yes.
Lot sizes are different, there's one minimum lot size of 63.
You know, those obviously will fluctuate depending on, you know, the topo maps and drainage, stuff like that. But I would say the 9,000 square feet would be the smallest.
You know how many townhomes you have?
Those, I should have printed out.
It says 43.
Oh, it's up there.
It's on the next page.
That's what you come back to.
Yep.
Thank you.
Take them off.
Okay, townhomes.
43.
So you have about 452 people. So you have a proposed walking trail, playground, and park area for use. How long that walking trail might be, just out of curiosity.
This park area you have here, that doesn't include any of the septic disposal field lines? Okay. And the reason I asked, because when we were bringing Urban Meadows in, when Urban Meadows was going through their progress review, and Mr. Billy could correct me, we had talked about having a green space, something like that, for public use there, but then Adina fenced it everything in and says, you cannot touch this. So, you know, I'm looking at your walking trail here, that would have to be outside of a fenced area.
Correct, so the thought on the, drip system is the system we would use would be also available to be walked on. It's a little bit different style than what other developers would have in the area. So it would be a combination of both, but, the area that we have could be used mowed.
But Adina's, or whomever, the wastewater company would be the one who made that call.
Yeah, well, it depends on the type of system installed and what the pipe is in the ground. So ours would, you couldn't drive a truck over it per se. It can be mowed and used as green space as well.
So you're saying that your system is not turned over to?
No, it will be, but it's.
But it becomes their property at that point in time, and it is signed over to them, if I'm not correct. So correct me if I'm wrong, it's signed over to whoever the wastewater company is, and they determine how this is used.
They have an easement to operate the system, yes, sir.
Okay.
Does it say here how large your park area is, just by chance?
Yeah, it's on that graph on the far right.
14 acres open space,
Okay.
including drip fields.
Yes, sir. And that includes the park area in the center of,
All green space.
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay.
Have you talked to the neighbors still working?
Well, we've had a conversation with them, but they're way far away. Until we know where we're at on the calculations, it's impossible to know any further details. In the land, we can only handle what the land can handle. So,
Terry Beers, give you anything yet, or is it still?
no, I mean, and we're not going to get anything from them until we get further.
I know we have to have an issue.
On the green or mixed use, you have 6 buildings here, 5 buildings, 6 buildings. The original plans that we saw this morning were like the Pleasant View Village, the first floor were retail and the upper 2 floors were residential. How many of those would be homes? How many, we had, how many?
Yeah, and that's on one of the pages here as well. Kind of gives you a breakdown on, do we have the other sheet set up here?
Okay, here we go, it's right here.
Okay.
It's right here. It's the second floor, third floor, and the little floor. It's 30. 40, 50. Vicki, can you correct me on our ordinance where it's for a certain percentage of buildings would be residential and a certain percentage must be commercial? Am I correct in that? It's like 100,000 to 20,000.
I want to say it goes back that ordinance. I'm looking at page 22, is that what you're referring to?
No, I don't have it with me. I'll just.
Okay, it
Top of my
says
head.
at least 75% of the floor area of the ground floor of multi-family buildings in any market shall be retail uses.
Well, there's also square footage in there as well. It's in.
1,000 square feet. At least 20,000 square feet.
20,000 square foot for every 100,000 square.
Right.
All right, now, if this goes forward, is the developer held to building X number and then putting retail in?
Yes, there's another section in there that they can start residential, which is probably what the typical developer would do. And then it comes to a point where you must stop until you start building commercial.
All right, so if he's got 100,000 square feet and he's got 100,000 square feet and the average home is 2,000 square feet, how many homes can he build before he starts any residential at all?
You say it's a percentage and not square footage.
So it's 62 family, 43 town.
Right.
Okay, did you find it? Okay.
Well,
No,
that's the number he's got, so
Oh, okay.
basically a half of that is what I think it's 50%.
I think, yeah, I think it is 50%. Let me find the section.
He has that.
Commercial going or commercial buildings? Commercial buildings built do not be occupied, correct? They have to be built.
I think that's correct, yes. It's have to be constructed.
I was going to reach. You have an idea roughly what the house values of these might be, 400, 450?
A lot of that's going to depend on time and when this hits the market. Right now, I would say a 220 or 200 square foot house would be, that's, in the 500,000 foot house, market value. Yeah, I kind of have a rough calculation that would be to that, but it's just.
That's fine.
I guess it's making.
Okay.
And it is 50%. The top of page 22, where it speaks to having the residential units, after the residential units, once built out, then you must start your commercial units. And your square footage, at least 20,000 square feet more area.
I says you've got major landscaping features, topography, that's on the map as well.
No, sir.
Nope.
That would have to be a final, right?
Okay.
We have to, lot lines and setbacks and drainage issues, all those things have to be addressed. So that is, as far as the landscape goes, it would be the standard in the city.
Okay, makes sense. What was your stormwater and drainage issues? One thing on the backside on Oak Hill, I know the TDEC says you can't discharge any more water than what you're already doing. There's already a drainage issue in Oak Hill that comes into those properties. What I'd like to see is if we can get some of that addressed if it passes, that gets, whether, there's a buffer there, there's some drainage to keep the water from coming on into Oak Hill and converting. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's a great, thing to do. It comes back to when we get these drawings done, we'll figure out where the topo, figure out where the drainage issues, are. Yeah, are they coming off our property or not? We're not allowed to discharge, water on another.
Probably has to reduce a little bit,
Right.
actually,
Well,
versus a.
Yeah, and I don't know what that means, right?
Right, I
Anything
get
that we can do is doable, right? I don't know if it's coming off of us or where that problem is coming into play. But I get your question.
Yeah,
We
that's,
just have to lay that
I wanna
out.
make sure that if we do this, some of that's addressed, because that's an issue. That would be a benefit of some of this reconstruction over here to help guys, my neighborhood.
Yeah, there's a V, there's that V that goes into there, and then I'm pretty
sure it comes back across to that far back corner. So all of that would have to be worked to get the subdivision and everything in there anyway.
Absolutely.
And, the detention ponds and stuff like that have to be full of water, it's got to hold so many gallons per hour, all that stuff to be calculated out correctly.
That's true, so currently where the land is now, Brandon's house gets flooded.
Yes.
Brian Reeves's house, it comes across the road, it floods the road in front of Miss Debbie's house, there's Miss Debbie's house right there, and Brian's house. And then Brandon's house is always around the perimeter of his foundation is flooded.
Does it get under the house? Does it get under the house in your crawl space as well?
I spent $20,000 trying to remediate the water issues. I drained probably 8 to 10 acres from behind me from the wooded lot, and then the water comes in from all the way over on the edge of the agriculture across the back of all those yards, and then hits my yard, and then unfortunately the grading on my house is incorrect, and the house sits lower than the lot, and it pools all in my foundation, but I've already had to have the bottom re-encapsulated, French drains put in, it's been a nightmare.
Hey Tim, you got both copies? This is yours, okay. I am missing a couple of them.
So did you solve the problem when you were doing those drains?
What now?
Did you solve the water problem when you
I
put in those
still
drains?
am dealing with water issues, so I've had to have a trench put in. I'm still probably see about 6 inches of water on the side of the house, even with a French drain, and all these measures that I've had done so far, and I still need to have several $1,000s in dirt work done to try to move the rest of the water away from the house. And I've got to raise my HVAC systems because they're too low. I'm dealing with tons and tons of water issues.
But when you put all that in, did you have a place for all of that to drain to, or is it just
I
going
bring
out
it to
in
the
your
front of the
yard?
yard and let it, and I've got videos of it. It is a river of water that comes through the yard and then onto the street and down to the culvert. That's the only place I know where to put it.
Yeah, I'm not a hydro engineer by any means, but when we put this road in and it comes down with those double cul-de-sacs in, that curb and gutter is gonna reflect all that water that goes underground in the catch basin to the far right side of this property now versus where that V is, that everything drains back across. I'm not gonna guarantee it fixes any of those problems, but it definitely diverts most of the water.
So I'm trying to get, if there's a
to the lake.
solution to divert the water,
Absolutely.
by doing anything over there on the property.
Yes, sir. I don't see how it could be worse with the way that road's cut in. That's gonna collect most of that water, push it to the far east of my property, away from that side of their property.
How would you envision the backs of these houses on a plan? Is it like right up against Oak Point? Is there gonna still be a tree line there? I know that you don't have the landscaping there yet, but is it gonna be, when they can look out the back window and they can see the neighbor? How bad is that gonna be or not?
No, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm never gonna give you false information. I don't know what trees they have, what trees can remain. We talked about a way to divert water that could eliminate a tree line. There's no way to know. And I'm not gonna give you false.
Push the houses farther in.
I'm not, and I'm never gonna give you false information.
No, I'm not asking you to commit on
Yes,
that
sir.
specifically, but I just want to understand the vision of what that may look like.
When we try to make it match, that's why we try to go with that pink to make it a little bit larger lot size to mimic where it's, there's back-to-back houses at one point currently, right?
Yeah.
However, we're trying to make it look the same.
On the other side, on the other property that was discussed earlier, the management property, is there anyone here representing that by chance? So, I've been told for the past year that's gonna be a home site. And obviously, there's still a permit file active on that. Have you had any communication with them? Is there anything?
Indirect, through, indirect conversations. We have been in communication with other utilities, as you know, to potentially do sewer bring the sewer under the interstate to this development. And putting some cost money where they could have access to those utilities at some point. That's as far as that went. I have no other information other than that. That would obviously be a huge cost if we were to run that to Pleasantville, you know, the infrastructure under the interstate, you know,
Oh, absolutely.
a couple miles
I
out.
mean, you went to the flags, what else would be out
Are
there?
you saying then that that's the one that bought the dump property?
Correct.
So,
My representative spoke to them about that.
so he's been telling people he's only gonna build one home on it.
So he told me, I spoke with him directly.
So what would he need a sewer system?
I cannot speak to, I mean.
I'm just, my wheels are turning now.
I don't know, and again, I'm just giving you the best information I have.
Why do you still need a key to open it?
My guess would be, this is speculation, that he's keeping his options open.
As a business person would do, that's exactly what.
That's my speculation.
Spend $4 million on a piece of property, just sit on it.
It's pretty simple to close that file, so from what I understand, it's pretty simple. Okay.
There are a few of these points that are pretty simple. There was the deed,
Right.
we put that on there.
So you own the property?
Yes, sir. My wife and I signed that we would, adhere to the regulations of the zoning ordinance. We have sole interest in the property at this time, and all those kinds of things that were asked of us as well.
For the purposes of the audience, we do have in writing with your signature and Candace's signature that you'll abide by the approved development plan for her, and that you 100% interest jointly, you and Candace own the property. So just,
I mean, is this gonna have HOA for the
Yes.
streets and all that, so?
That's in the way the ordinance is written, so basically everything from the perimeter of this property will be an HOA.
So it would be the town's responsibility?
Zero, there's nothing on it, you know, whatever, police or fire, whatever that would work, but roads and all that's in the HOA. And as, you know, as we get the layout approved, move forward, the covenants and the HOA will be designated to, you know, fund that accordingly, depending on the size of, you know, each building will pay in a certain percentage and all that, so all that will be set up, you know, and done, and put on the deed.
And I know the one document, I think, there was a road name, I think that's been removed.
Yes, we removed that, and, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people upset about that, and I understand, we put it on there at the request of a resident at the time to make easy access.
Would it be a walking trail, a bike trail?
Yeah, no, those are easy things, right? The road actually cost us more money, so we were happy to remove that and take that out.
I'm gonna bounce it a little bit. The traffic study, obviously 49, as everyone has pointed that out, a couple things at 49. There's no discussion with the state of Tennessee to improve that road. Springfield, as everybody knows, is gonna build 3,000 homes over the next 20 years. That traffic is gonna flow through us no matter what. So us adding some traffic is obviously gonna impact that, but they're going to add a lot of traffic. I would expect the traffic study in this to include some improvements to 49. You know, as we work through that, whether that's some lane extensions there, traffic lights, whatever. That would have to come through this, obviously.
Yeah.
There is some potential, that there may have to be improvements that may actually alleviate some of the traffic on the highway as well as over there. Coming through there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure TDOT, you know, when you have decel lanes and stuff like that, again, those will all come off the traffic study, once we know what's going to be approved for us to build and what, you know, what they don't. Then the traffic study for TDOT.
I just want to be clear that all the traffic that's increasing is not gonna expect any center. There's Dirty Meadows, everybody else. The traffic coming off of Springfield is bigger.
Chief, how many cars goes that 49 miles?
Roughly 75 to 80,000 every 7 days. That's during the school zone time, like school, active school. During the summer, it's in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, about 75,000 during school time. In the summer, it's about 55, 60, something like that.
We got that many on the road. There's still.
There's a lot.
Talk about the schools, I don't know if you guys watched, maybe I said about, we talked about schools, but obviously there needs to be two new schools in Robertson County. You know, that's $300 million that they're gonna, it would cost for these schools. So everybody's concerned about schools. It is spot on. You know, especially Springfield growing, they're shipping their kids here, they want a school there as well. Great for us to have high school. I think those are all things in the long term. I think eventually can get there, it's just gonna take time.
Well, that's what we were told by the county commissioner, that, if we had more rooftops and more kids, we could get a high school.
So
now they've almost got our schools full by getting Springfield out here.
So Tennessee is a rooftop school, it's a sales tax school. So there's two ways you make money in the municipality, basically. You either have a lot of houses where you get state share revenue with no commercial, or you flip it and mix it, and you either have a lot of commercial and no rooftops, and you balance it. You know, we are neither, we're very low on commercial, and we're very low on rooftops. I'm not inclined we should put a bunch of rooftops to do anything like that. I have said it can't be about commercial. And we do need to get commercial because, you know, I'm not, and you guys, you got a committee meeting tomorrow, finance committee, you guys will start hearing about this. We got 32 square miles, we got 54 miles of roads paved, we're the biggest municipality in this county. There's no way the county can pay for all these roads themselves, even if we go back to the county. Taxes are gonna go up. So we have to take care of our own independence and develop some commercial. Some of that may have to be some rooftops. That does give you state revenue. I mean, it does. And we gotta balance it. So there's the issue, whether it's him or anybody else. And try to figure out infrastructure. So if you put his proposed thing out in the middle of the country, all that infrastructure is on us. Right now it's on the state highway. Okay, so the state highway, the developer would have to fund it. The state takes that with still responsibility. So that takes some of that burden off of us. We're not even gonna take care of his roads. So there's an opportunity for the town to generate revenue. Once I know the sales number, I can tell you probably what this is going to city. To help fill the coffers. The dump site's an issue. You know, again, you said it well, if you crowd it up a little bit, maybe there's an opportunity to stop that, unfortunately.
This would be encroaching upon the buffer for the dump site, correct?
Yeah. That's an unfortunate circumstance that we're still talking about that 30 years ago.
Well, if this encroaches on the buffer, it could stop that.
It could, or it could not. I don't know if it will or won't, but it's one of those things that.
Well, with the state cares.
And right, and now, so the Jackson law, which was discussed earlier, the county has not adopted it. The state is trying to manipulate that law potentially as well. So there is lobbying going on trying to get dump sites. Our county is spending a ton of money to ship our trash out. Everybody wants low property tax. They are gonna look for spaces. Now, I hope it's not here. I'm gonna try to prevent that as best as possible. I live in Oklahoma. The last thing I want to know, you talk about property tax, or I get property value, we're done. So, this discussion, and we'll continue, I'm getting a little sidetracked, but this discussion kind of, it's unfortunate we have to have it like this, because now you've got kind of the devils you do and the devils you don't know in some of these things. Revenue, dump, all that kind of stuff. Infrastructure, but if we don't get any revenue, our infrastructure is not going to improve. In fact, in time, your property tax will get to pay the general fund. And I don't think that's what everybody wants. But we've done some neglect on some of this for a long time. I think we need to be fair and reasonable about how to address it. All right, back to moving on to your list.
Is there any, Michael, do you have room, should it come to that, to shrink the scale of this project and still make it viable from an economic standpoint as a developer?
gonna give you my gut instinct, is it's going to shrink anyways because of the sewage disposal. And again, that's why I kind of go back to, we got to know, we gotta get zoned, and then it takes a ton of investment just to get to that point. I believe, just off of speculation, that we have more in the development than it can handle. Okay?
Retail or commercial?
It's, so anytime you do this, commercial is very, very little sewage, treatment. It would be more on the, residential side.
So you'd be reducing the residential.
Right, if we're maxed out, I mean, that's where it's gotta come from. So, you know, the economics of it, you know, this project is not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna be at least 24 months to get through testing, TDAC, engineering, and so forth, just to get back to the PC, in my opinion. Again,
2 years to get to the point.
by the time, I mean, to get a soil scientist at this point, I don't know if Mr. Chairman will ask, but you're talking 6 to 8 months just to get on the waiting list for a soil scientist. Then he's gotta come out and do the testing, get the results back, you know, before we even know, you know, anything. Right? This development could be cut in half. Right, if the soils need that much work. You know, those are the real concerns that we have. So we kind of did what we thought would work, and kind of maxed it out. So then we're not coming back, you know, 3 years from now saying, hey, we have great soils, let's double it.
So it's not gonna grow for
I don't see how it's possible.
you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know people look at it as being 50 acres, but almost a third of the land is being allocated to the soils. This is what it takes. And I think some of the driving was mentioned with the soils, right? It's been a two-decade process because of the soils. It's a sewer issue, and so you're just playing back and forth. You're dealing with TDAC, you're dealing with different types of environmental scientists to look at it. So it just takes a long time to get through it and to get it right.
Total construction time, if you, best case, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, these are multi-year. I put something on your packet, but it's you know, it's educated guesses. A lot of it depends on, you know, tenants and leasing, sales on housing. You know, are we in a recession, are we booming, you know, is COVID, you know, it's just a guess. There are some time restraints in the ordinance itself. So those are things that we have to.
But you got a 3-year, is that right? A 3-year where it's gotta be, unless we extend it.
In all honesty, some extensions might very well come back from just whoever that board would be, just because of the restriction. If we were Springfield and, you know, they have sewer and water that I could draw it out and we could flip the switch and get going, but we just don't have that.
For a build out, you're probably looking at 10 years before everything's built out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is a big project.
Yeah.
You know,
How do you feel about?
I mean, I think, how long did Elizabeth take? I don't know that, the village, it took them a long time.
Yeah.
It's a similar type thing. I bet it took them maybe 15 years.
Yeah, they're still building.
They still building, so it takes a long time.
Here's the water.
As far as,
Water.
Water, not
like drinking water. So, I mean,
sprinkling or even come from the river.
until the water gets sorted out with the city and the county and Springfield, those are unknowns, right? And obviously, if we don't have water, the development dies off, you know, those restrictions restrict what we can do. If we can't get water, we can't go forward. So, to me, it's a non-issue. There's not a water issue, it's just a infrastructure issue on who's going to pay for the repairs within the city.
You want that discussion in the work session, right?
Yeah, it was, I was curious to know.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
just curious to know, cause we had pre-planned or something,
Yeah.
where the water, you're gonna get a Springfield tap
And
on top of Springfield.
We have, and we originally had a water letter back when we pitched this as a commercial a couple of years ago.
That's what
And, at the time, they're not gonna redo that letter for different reasons. Mostly, I believe, leverage, they're trying to leverage everything.
You talked earlier about possibly bringing septic in from Pleasant View is bringing water in from Pleasant View an option if there's no other options?
Yeah, so we had a meeting with them, 4 weeks ago. Myself and some of my representatives, we met with them, because originally we pitched the idea of taking the sewer down. And they told us they would only want to do the sewer by development if they could provide them water. So once this kind of started happening in the city, we went back and asked them if they would entertain it. And they said they would. Obviously, they have a board, we have to go back to their board. They want to make sure that they can make money off of it as well. So that issue would have to get to this board as well, and there's a lot of things that would have to happen there, but that is a possibility.
So the city was trying to resolve the water issues. If we can't get them straightened out, you have an alternative, possible.
I mean, so one of the things was, the Pleasant Utility Board made it very clear to me that they would not get into a bidding war with East Montgomery. They're good partners, I think it's East Montgomery. They're good partners. They said if East Montgomery was trying to come in, that they wouldn't fight, because they share whatever. So, but there was definitely a possibility there. What percentage of that goes through, I don't know. But they were open to taking it to their board for approval, just because this was big enough to make them run, right? They wouldn't want to run their trucks over to do service on 20 houses.
Right.
But for something like this, they would have interest in water and sewer. Obviously, we would have to pay for the infrastructure and all that.
Well, the sewer, would it be coming down 49?
Yes, sir.
So other people could hook on to it besides you?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Again, that's all in their respective, that was what we talked about. I believe there's already easements through there. I think.
They have a water line that goes under the intersection.
There's an existing easement already down 49 for sewer, Oak Point, and the fuel station.
How many of these items can't be answered with this penalty?
There's not too many, actually. We kind of, all of them that can be answered today will be in the final master plan.
Right.
Such as the landscaping plan in topo, and, item 5. So, that was a little bit, there's a couple of these that are kind of confusing in the ordinance. Basically, item I here in double I would be, I think, the way I understand it, how much, if we're struggling to lease out or we're struggling to move forward, I believe, would we be open to tweaking our plan where it could be marketed for more retail or shops, something like that, the way we read that.
A lot of these questions that you've answered, is that a lot of questions that the planning committee first wanted answered, and you didn't have the answers in?
Yeah.
You've gone back now and studied.
Correct.
Have the answer for us and for the planning.
Correct. So the A through U are those items that are kind of publicly noted that weren't answered. And we went through and answered those questions. And obviously they were, they weren't major questions at the time. I really do care about my reputation, and if I tell you got something, I want it to be concrete. So some of them were hypotheticals that we didn't kind of wait till we came back with the master plan. But since they were very much hot button issues, we went ahead and, took care of answering all those questions, putting them on there, and going through the list.
That was one of the questions gentleman had earlier about all the questions couldn't be answered at the planning commission. So if they could be answered, it would be a different thing, for some people.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think they're all answered. They are all answered. So there's a couple things that are not applicable, and those are answered at this time. And there's been a lot of comments about, people from out of town. I live here, never plan on moving. We own a lot of property here. We were trying to do it the right way and be good neighbors, and make this make sense for everybody. I'm not leaving California tomorrow. We're trying to, we're here.
protection for the town if he, say, gets approved and then within 3 years, he does go to California or something. What happens? Okay, you know, say construction is started or no construction is started, what happens within the first 3 years?
So that developer who he sells to would have to come in and finish based on the plan that's adopted.
The final master
The final master plan. Yeah.
What happens after the 3 years? If nothing starts and after the 3 years, is it that the
If
mixed
nothing
use?
starts,
I'm sorry.
then if nothing starts at all, then he would have to start from scratch after that 3rd year, or if he were to sell it and not start anything, if he's approved, then that new developer will have to start from scratch.
Or
Or they could use
or
the
the
same
future
plan.
BOMA could, if nothing happens, say 5 years, and they don't want mixed use on it anymore, they can go back and rezone it if nothing is on the plan, correct?
Correct.
You can unzone after you zone something without the property owner asking for it?
This, yes, the ordinance states that. This is the only case with mixed use where you could do that.
Let's sort of protect ourselves from what happened out
That was why I'm
on
asking.
the
is if-
Wendell's property out for Pleasant View, and the way he tried to pull one over on us. So that's why that's in there, is to protect us. I think I said one of these things.
So the other, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I think I see 3 items in here where it says will be on the final, master plan. So those 3, I think I see.
So the master plan process, okay, if this gets approved, goes back to the planning committee, and that's where all of the plan development based on the zoning and the ordinance, all of the regs that you have, correct? The public can go to those meetings.
Absolutely.
Correct. So the public can witness and comment, just like we did tonight, if this gets approved, as we see what we like, we see what we don't like, kind of have some input, is that?
Yes.
Correct.
And that takes place at the planning committee, it would not come back to us.
No, because we will have, it will be done with BOMA.
Right.
So that's part of my still contention. So if I may.
Yeah.
So back in May, during the BOMA meeting, I raised a concern about us as a governing body not having to be able to sign off on the final master plan. In the current mixed-use ordinance, the way the language reads is it does say that we have the ability to guide or have some sort of guidance, but it does, the way the language reads, it doesn't give us approval of it. It just says that we can comment or guide. Let me find exactly what it says. So, but my concerns are is that whether the plans change for the good, right? So like, what if he has to create more space for septic and it reduces residential? So even if it's for good or for bad, doesn't matter. We don't have the ability as a governing body to sign off on that. And that's probably the one biggest stipulation that I have on this is because, you know, if you rezone this and, you know, whether, I'm not saying that he's not gonna try to follow the best of his ability, but my point is that there's going to be changes. Because as, you know, just like the drive-in, right, there's been changes that I know 5 times, right, but, okay, that has changed. It's gone to the planning commission where, you know, those particular plans have been talked about and discussed, right, and he needed a different sign size, and of course it came to us to approve that, which was fine. But the point is that I still have issues this large project such as this, whether it's commercial, industrial, high density housing like that monstrosity known as Dirty Meadows, and this stuff, and this particular mixed use right here. The fact is that things can change, things could just kind of just, it's not what we thought it was going to be. And we have no say. That's what I'm highly concerned about.
Well, that's where you could have an ordinance that stated it would come back to us if, we wasn't happy with it, or we would have to, be at the planning committee meeting and have our input.
Right. And the current mixed use ordinance does have, it says action by the BOMA.
Pleasure fire, pleasure fire. Can you call Roger County Dispatch? Pleasure fire, call Roger County Dispatch.
Okay. It actually has in, sorry, I know. All right, it says in there that the ordinance language, it suggests guidance, that we can guide between the preliminary plan and the master plan. It says the BOMA shall provide guidance to overall design modifications and compliance between the prelim plan and the master plan. But the way the language is written, it doesn't say to come back for approval.
You'd have to have an ordinance, I think it would take an ordinance for that to be changed.
Yeah, and it also says in the mixed use about amendments to the master plan. So let's just say a master plan is in fact approved, right? If any other amendments have to be made to that master plan, again, good, bad, plans can change for complete logical and reasonable reasons. However, again, as an amendment is made, it's not coming back. That's the only, so that's the number one key thing that I have with any large project, not just mixed use particularly, I'm talking commercial, industrial, and then any other future high density type of thing, because we don't, there has to be additional oversight in my personal opinion.
I think that's why the board would want to work with the planning commission.
Correct.
Pretty much as closely as possible.
Correct.
And I think they're gonna listen to whatever the board says, we're gonna listen to what they say.
Correct.
And come out with the best tolerance.
That's why there's two members on this board on the commission as well, to help monitor that. Now, if we need an ordinance, I don't even know what that looks like. I mean, that's not built into this. I know the minor modifications are, so, I mean.
It just has it uses the language guidance, but it doesn't use the language of approval. And I really think that we could get ourselves in a bind here if we don't render a certain type of oversight, especially when you start going into big projects such as these.
Okay, so aside from the two members that are on,
Isn't that the way most governments are set up like that, that they break through in the same thing?
it depends on metro government does it one way. I don't.
The metro's totally different.
Right, we've had different
But
conversations regarding
municipalities,
statute.
those would all do the same way.
You can do it different way. There's municipalities across the United States that where it does come back to city council or whatever. It just depends on that particular municipality and how they want to set up their ordinance.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, you'd either have to amend the ordinance or make a new ordinance.
What I wouldn't want to do, this is the worst case, is the planning committee goes through the entire process of the master plan, comes back with it all done, it's completely gutted, voted down, and gutted, and you got to start the whole process. I want to make sure that the board has input along the way, which is why you have the two members on it, because the last thing you want to do to the board and to the developer is say, hey, we spent 2 years on this, now the board, well, we don't like that. That being said, though, I think what you're implying is if it's already been approved and then 2 years into it, the developer was way off course, right? Then the board would have some say so to say, wait a minute, hold on, there's too many changes. That's what you're saying?
Right, it's a minor thing like, oh, I can't put, it here on this one thing, it's gotta go here, right? And again, it's reasonable, I know there's the minor modifications that is stipulated in the ordinance. But I still feel like we need to work closely, not only, I know you two are on the PC, but we're not always there.
Can we?
I was gonna say, you can always, you can be.
You wanna be on
No,
it?
not always.
You can
But
always.
I still feel very concerned about that particular oversight. Has nothing to do with the member of the body necessarily. I'm just saying, these are large projects that you're trying to introduce into a community of 4,500 people without direct oversight. That's the only thing that I really have very vast concerns about that. I also have concerns about public service. Is, the fire, police calls for service, and the fact that we're gonna pay more to the E911 board too. It's another concern.
So you have to have revenue. Absolutely.
But the other thing is, again, I'm concerned about rezoning this, and then the real estate company that has purchased the 400 acres, right? It's an LLC, it's a real estate
Correct.
company,
It's a
it's not a Mr. Fletcher,
That's correct.
okay? But, he can then change and just, the dominoes are falling, and then now, there you go. You have development coming for the 400 acres. You have other farms that are gonna be sold.
Well, and to that point, and that's a good point. Unfortunately, we can't regulate farm sales.
No.
And I would encourage farmers that don't want to sell, get into it.
I'm making sure that you're saying that
Yeah.
as soon, but the point is again, the growth.
Yeah.
I ran on quality over quantity. That's what I ran on. And I want quality. I don't want quantity. I want quality.
Well, I think, and again, I'm only speaking because of what I've seen, the quality of the projects that he's done personally, they seem to be quality.
It's nothing against Mr.
Yeah.
Fletcher. I'm not.
No, I get it. I'm just saying. So I think the issue is, whether you split that up into 5-acre plots or do what, I don't know that that's the answer. I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. The commercial aspect of it is a key component, and that 400 acres sitting next to it is a component of it. If you bought this from a farmer, I'm assuming? Yeah, fine. So, I see things on Facebook, the county deals with just the same. Farmers, people don't want to farm. So you have people that are buying up this acreage and it's going to development. And, it's happening all over the place. Our job is to try to manage it, smart development, reasonable growth, whatever you want to call it. Is this the best answer for that? I don't know that answer. It's one of the projects that have come up. It's just in a weird situation where it's located. It's on a state highway. There's a lot of things to consider.
And back to what Casey said earlier, myself and you both came here in 2023 and opposed the rezoning of that same property.
Absolutely, because in that time, it was kind of wide open. There was a gas station there, that has now been changed. It took them 2 years to do this ordinance, to get it built. And 2 years for illustration 13, it was taking a long time, a long process to get to this. So you are correct. I did not want a gas station. I didn't want to see a travel station there or a EPA depot. That wasn't what we want by Oak Point. Personally, regardless of Oak Point being in the equation, since I live there, I like going to some of these places. When I moved here, I moved to the country just the same, but I also wasn't naive to think I live in a subdivision where there would be additional building around me. Okay? But what I don't want on 49 personally is I don't want to see industrial sites all the way up to 149. I want to see quality homes. I want to see families here. I want to see families that grow here. I want to see people that want to. And we do see that. Now, do I want to see overcrowding? Do you have it, want to go drink a cup of coffee or something like that? Everybody's got their preference.
That was one place here to go eat, instead of going out of town.
I can stand up on the interstate, I look one direction, and I see development, right or wrong, like it or not, and I see how they have no property tax. I see them making their money off the sales tax over all these years. They have water system and sewer system. I look the other direction, we have 1, 2, what time 3 gas stations, it's a hotel, it's a roads, a lot of potential that's sitting right there that was not tapped. And now we're sitting here 30 years later, and we're all upset because of taxes and roads and everything else. I'm not implying we should develop the crap out of this town. I did not say that during the campaign. But I am also just putting some rationale to it. We have a property tax and we do have a sales tax that we collect. So if we're looking at 20 years, you can't literally stand on the interstate and look both directions and see a little bit of a difference. And I think some of that over there I will develop differently personally, but whatever. But everybody can go to Pleasant View and spend their money. And they're reaping the rewards of spending their money. All this traffic's gonna go up 49. It's also gonna go down 431. Okay? They're talking about expanding 431 all the way down to the interstate. Okay? I think that's a great idea. But that's gonna be 10 years, 15 years, right? Yeah, we went to a meeting. So, right through, for Pebblebrook. And it's not, it takes the state time and millions and millions of dollars. So, either we're going to sit here, regardless of this, and we're gonna sit here in 10 to 15, 20 years, and we're still gonna be angry, upset, and nothing done, nothing paid, whatever else is going on. Or we're going to have an open mind to some of these concepts. Fortunately, it's right next door. But I'll take something else besides the gun.
I will say that I have received numerous emails in opposition of this. I've received numerous emails in support of this. I've talked, and I represent Ward 1, which doesn't have anything to do with Oakland, so it's on this side of town. I have talked to well over 100 people in Ward 1, and the people that I represent are for this development.
Well, and I obviously am, so I represent that neighborhood. People either way, mad at me, yes, no. There's nobody's gonna be 100% happy, but I also live there, and I don't want something trashy next to us. If I can help get some drainage issues resolved, I want to do that. If I can help get 49 improved without tying it to this town, I'd be open. Traffic's still gonna come through.
Once the traffic comes through, the state knows they're gonna have to do something, which they've already been talking about doing something before the law. Of course, it might be 15 years down the road, because every time they have a road plan, it goes on the shelf for about 10 to 15 years. That's the way 431 was, it was on the shelf for 15 years.
It's like the stoplight at the school, it's now been approved, but when's it gonna be? I hope within the next 2 years. You know, but that's been talked about for a long time, and now it's finally approved. Okay, which items are not?
I think we've covered them all, haven't we? There's 3 items, H, I, and P, that can't be answered until the final plat, if I read those correctly.
Which item B?
P.
H is the water.
So back to Candace's issue. I don't know if that can be obviously resolved tonight, part of this, or this is something that has to be discussed at a future meeting, so that we can, if there is a solution to that. I don't know. I need to talk to, I don't know,
So
yes.
definitely come back with the planning commission.
Marshall. What's that?
Or if the board wants to request the planning commission look at an ordinance, they would have to create an ordinance or change an existing ordinance. Then that would come back before BOMA.
To allow for
more oversight by BOMA.
But that's not in front of us tonight.
No.
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 Well, no, the issue tonight's got to be decided on what we're looking
I
at
want
here.
a motion to at least open the discussion so we can create an ordinance for oversight. It's not just for mixed use, but for commercial, industrial, and all those other bigger.
would that be done by the planning committee first? So that needs to be, so we can get on an agenda to discuss at some point, next month or something.
I'm gonna go out and say that I will make a motion to approve this contingent upon you completing those three things by the final master plan. That's what the people in my ward would want me to do.
Has everyone looked at this?
Okay.
Have they gone around the room?
And you have master plan on page seven, so all those will be there.
Well, those 2 or 3 items are really not a big item, it's just that you get it built out, like the landscape and stuff, you're gonna have to do that, so I'm sure that'll be taken care of.
They'll be deciding on soil studies and those types of things that aren't really applicable at this stage of the game.
Do you have any revenue data with you? Is that something?
Yeah, I mean, I do, it's, kind of high level data,
That's
so
all right.
we did this back 2 years ago, 2 years data, just kind of scaled out what the city receives from the state, sales tax, all that kind of stuff. So the building permits and affordable housing would be about 325,000 in revenue, off of the square footage and all that. The property tax revenue increase for those houses, per our calculation, is 27,000 a year. The commercial property building permits would be about 215,000 for those building permits. The commercial property tax revenue per our calculations is for the commercial side 45,000 additional. The sales tax from the state share, which is per person, we think would be about 56,000, and the revenue from the commercial sales tax we think would be about 280 to 410,000 a year off the sales tax on the low end. The average grocery store in Tennessee does about 9 million a year in revenue. The one in Pleasantview does better than that. For example, so you can calculate the sales tax just on that alone.
That's just one business?
That's just going to be just a small, medium-sized grocery. The typical QSR, you're running about 1.1 to 1.2 million in annual sales on the low end. You start calculating pretty quick. My figures are very low.
Yeah, I'd say yours are, based on my calculations, are conservative.
Right. Again, I'm not going to promise you that we will deliver.
So how much do you think the fair market value your on a commercial building? Just roughly.
In value?
I'm not holding you to it, I was trying to talk to you.
This development, if you look at other developments, there's a development in Gallatin that's similar size, it's probably more dense. They're tagging that development at $1 billion, right? That's not it. Total, right? It's bigger, it's more dense. I would say the value of this development is, 450 million on the low end value. That's, you start looking at the housing, how that calculates out. What is a brand new grocery store going out? You're looking at, $400 or $500 a square foot. There's what, the value is really high as far as, once we get it zoned.
So in theory, and these are rough numbers, I mean, if you looked at that, kind of what he's saying, in revenue and population, if everything were, was $500,000 in property tax, sales tax revenue in the city, the county would get almost $600,000, so you're about, this is about $1.2 million, not including his building permits and all that.
And I believe it was very conservative.
So the 3 items that we're going to, these are mine. Streets on the sidewalks and stuff, is it all gonna be brick, is it just normal concrete, is it?
The streets?
Well, the streets will be asphalt, but like the sidewalks, are they gonna be?
Especially in the residential areas, those would be, concrete.
Yep.
If you kind of look at the plan, there's a, I don't want to call them patios, but those wide sidewalks you know, those would probably be a paver design where, you know, a lot of times we would want to do pavers just to allow for water seepage versus concrete. It reduces our requirements on the retention pond and stuff like that too.
The park and stuff, if you allow or appoint citizens to come over,
That's,
that's an HOA issue.
that's an HOA issue, sure. And I don't, those are attorneys and people smarter than me to answer that question. You know, it would be for patrons of the restaurants and things as well. I don't see it being an issue, but there'll be a point in my life where that's taken over by someone else and, you know, it'd be hard for me to say what someone else would do. With the HOA.
Outside the box, I think you're out, see what the benefits to what you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, anywhere you go that has like, you know, a playground and stuff like that, if you're a patron of that facility, it's open use for sure. For just, I mean, I would say the HOA would say no, but what does that mean, right?
People can still walk.
Right, I mean, you know, I'm assuming there's no security guards around the playground.
Would you outsource the building? I mean, I know you have subcontract. You would be in control of the construction?
Yeah, that's what we do, that's our primary business is commercial construction. You know, that's, again, if for some reason, you know, we have some parcels, that's, you know, I don't wanna drop it in, a restaurant wants to be built there, a lot of times they have their own deal, so that would be controlled by the, it just depends on the situation.
Alright, motion on the table to accept this approved with conditions of the 3 items.
Three items.
So,
There's a second.
looks like you went through everything that he's been asking me. By us and by the planning commission.
The ordinance has been met, it looks like, yes, I believe there were 3 conditions which we answered as part of the process. The public can be included in the process. So we have a motion and a second. Let's do roll.
Vice Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Alderman Mason,
Yes.
Alderman Randall. No.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Before everybody leaves, if I can, thank y'all for coming and showing your interest. Please come back and show your interest in other meetings so you get actual facts and not statements off of social
Well, the
media.
actual facts is we don't need this, and y'all just voted it in.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you coming.
All right. Going to move with the rest of this. In your packet, you have a bank balance report.
My heartburn on this whole thing is, my heartburn on this whole thing is, never saw this plan. They never saw it. So, they never were able to give us their input on this plan. And that's my heartburn with the group. It's bad, it's over and done, but we never shared this with the citizens of Cooper County. All we shared with them, there was a mixed use, industrial, commercial zoning. We never shared with them the plan of what was going on. And I have heartburn on that. But it's more than just a rezone.
And I agree with you 100%. That's one reason I got passed pictures around with people that were interested in something.
You got 50 people, they still not see it.
You won't have 50 people in
You
there?
got 4,000 people in our town. This should have been put on Facebook, it should have been put on our town website for every citizen to look at, should they so choose to do so. Our citizens did not have the opportunity to look at this. All they saw was a rezone of 48 acres for this development. Some of the no's that I got phone calls on may have been yeses, if they knew what was going there. And I can't tell them whatever, I had no idea.
Yeah, we just got this today. That was another thing. I should have said that earlier.
What is included in your packet is the bank balance report. The summary financial statement, 1 and 2. Questions? Not, we'll move on. Capital recovery systems report. Chief, if you'd like to share anything on the report.
How you follow all that? I ain't gonna spend a whole hell of a lot of time, I'm just gonna say my piece and come on. Let's see. 24 incident reports, 7 crash reports, 17 misdemeanor arrests, few juvenile arrests and citations, 96 traffic stops, 61 tickets wrote in the city. That doesn't include the state sites and general sessions, that's just city sites. We did respond to multiple traffic crashes, a couple vehicle searches. There's always people that don't have a license or driver's suspended or revoked. We did have a pursuit, a couple reckless drivings, reckless endangerments, runaway juvenile, which we spent a lot of time, like 4 days straight, on finding her. She was located in Nashville, an apartment complex in Antioch. Multiple unruly juveniles, abandoned vehicles. We did have a DOA determined to be natural DOAs. A couple thefts, and identity theft. We did have a few civic vapid cases. And then community engagement, something we added new to the report is so that you guys can see what we do in the community. In the month of August, we joined Cross Plains. We were invited for their safety day, so we were up there for that. And we also handed out 20 bags of food and 20 bags of hygiene products for people that were in need in our city that needed food and hygiene. So we were able to help some citizens in the month of August. And so far, this month we've done the same thing to a resident who was really struggling. Just Sunday, we were able to give her some bags of food and hygiene products. We received those donations from a place called Yay Pack in Clarksville. They're a nonprofit organization that we reach out to them and they'll help us get the food and hygiene, and we deliver it to our citizens in need. So, also, if you have anyone in the future that calls you and says, hey, I need help with food or hygiene products, feel free to have them reach out to me, send me an email, or call to the office. I'll be more than happy to get them on the chain to get the resources they need. That's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Street department. John?
This is already wrecked, so if you got a question, I'll answer it.
Well, the high level of it is, salt building is
Complete.
It's complete.
We got our warranty card where we built it correctly, it's all standing. Insurance has already got it.
Relocated fuel tanks, 6 others, culvert replacement on Ridge Road. South Walker is done.
South Walker Hills.
We did it ourselves. It is a lot cheaper.
About 10-ish.
So those are construction, we had that meeting, still working through that. Doing some analysis on if we do our own paving ourselves, buying our own equipment. I don't think that's probably going to be the right answer. Versus outsourcing it. So that's kind of how that's the street department.
Can I add? We had our touch-up truck on Saturday. It was a super great event. We had a few artists showed up, the mayor showed up, and it was fantastic. We were able to raise some money to go help some kids with shop at the cop. So I believe we raised enough money to support 4 or 5 kids for shop at the cop. So thank you for all your support.
In the October, it's a little bit cooler.
It was a little warm. Yeah. Mr. Hayes said he's getting a dumpling next week. But it was a great turnout. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate it.
How else do you raise money for the Shop at the Top?
So we have multiple events throughout the year. We have our Jeep Ride, which is in April. We did a show, so we used to do a Jeep Ride with escort Jeeps. And then when you have 3 police cars, that's going to be 50 Jeeps. That doesn't mix. So we ended up doing a show and shine, which we'll probably end up doing a show and shine from here on. So if you have a Jeep of any kind, you're invited to that. We have our motorcycle ride coming up in October. October's our busiest month. Touch of Trucks in September, Jeep rides in April. Oh my gosh, we got Faith and Blue weekend in October. That's actually more of just an opportunity to where we can get bags of food and give it to United Way. So we just do like a food drive for the Faith and Blue weekend. We also, like I said, we do the motorcycle ride. That raises some money. And just throughout the year, am I forgetting any other events that raise money?
We get donations,
Yeah.
and some of the sponsors for some of these events also donate some money to go towards that.
Businesses, JRC donates every year. Actually, Robert Dale donates every year. Our mayor donates. So we do have a lot of people, key donators, who donate for that cause as well. So each kid gets about 130 to 140 bucks a year. We spend about almost close to 4,000 a year, taking about 28 kids to Walmart. But everything we do for Shop at the Cop is 100% donations. If we didn't have a single penny for Shop at the Cop and donations, we wouldn't be able to do it.
I got to do it last year with you guys.
Yeah, and you're welcome back this year. You guys are all welcome. I'll try to get the dates out as soon as I can. That's a school board decision on the date, but as soon as I know, I'll ship that date out. Yeah. It's a great event. It's probably my favorite, most of my officers' favorite. So.
Thank you. Packets to the fire department reports. We have several calls. Madam Teacher.
You bet. October the 9th, they're having a fire recruit graduation, so they'll be adding more personnel to supplement, more volunteer personnel to supplement their shortage that they talked to us about that. October the 9th, they're having a fire recruit graduation, which will supplement the shortage of firefighters that they've had.
And an update on our agency. We have one that graduates the police academy this Friday, for Toletta. So we want her graduation. She'll start FTO very soon. Officer Shad back there starts the police academy on Sunday. And then we have a couple in the interview process to maybe fill that 7th spot that we have. So we're getting there. We're getting back to full staff. Just take some time for training.
All right, any other comments from Alderman?
Got one? Motion to adjourn.